What's going on, everybody, and welcome on into the Garage Beers Podcast, episode 249, as we're coming to you live here on the OBR streaming network tonight. And we got a lot to go over tonight. We got a big-time show with big-time stuff going on. It's been a big week of news in Cleveland. It's been a big week of news around the country, and we're going to get to all of it, covering not just the Cleveland Browns, even though we are here on the OBR, the best place in Cleveland to get your Browns coverage, the Orange and Brown Report. Make sure you are subscribed. Tomorrow, I believe if I saw this right, tomorrow is like a free VIP day on the OBR.com. So you get access to all the paid content for free tomorrow. So make sure you check that out at the OBR.com tomorrow. But then you can come hang out with us on Tuesday nights, and we're gonna talk Browns because that's the big story of the week. But we're going to preview the Super Bowl, the game, a Super Bowl I've never cared less about, but we're going to preview it anyways. We're going to talk about an incredible week in the NBA with the NBA trade deadline coming up. We got the Cavs playing the Celtics tonight. A lot of stuff going on, and we're going to get to all of it here on Garage Beers Live, episode 249. Joining you tonight, I'm your host, Michael Keefe at Garage Beers Mike, and joining me over on the east side of Cleveland, my co-host, find him online at Garage Beers Chad. It's Chad Meyer. What's up, Chad?
Hey. Look at us. Huh? Who'd have thought, huh?
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? Fuck's sake. Is it next January already? So we can just get this over with.
Well, this January did feel like a year.
Yeah, sure did. Hey, Mike, just fun little question to open. And my wife and I were having the debate earlier. Put the perfect fast food combo meal together.
Ooh, damn.
Right? Not like fast casual, right? We're not talking Chipotle. We're not talking Sub. I'm talking like the
fast food.
Like you feel like shit afterwards for eating fast food.
Damn.
Put that perfect meal together.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you got to give me 1 minute on this. What'd you come up with?
Listen, my favorite fast food burger of all time is Mr. Hero. Okay, Mr. Hero, Roman burger is my favorite fast food meal burger of all time. Right? You get that greasy ass burger on there with the salami and the onions. It's just oof. It's a heart attack wrapped up in plastic, but it's fine. Then give me Rally's fries.
Ooh, good ones, because those are like the steak fries.
Steak fries.
Yes.
Rally's fries.
Yes.
And then I'm going Swenson's California.
Yep, the slushy.
Yeah, and then you top it off with a Wendy's Frosty. Sorry, you just top it off with a Wendy's Frosty.
Man, I'm so torn here because I love one of my favorite things on the planet is an Arby's beef and cheddar.
Yeah, all right.
You can't go wrong with a Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich.
That's a good one too. See, it's a lot to debate about when it comes to this.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with one, and this is gonna be unpopular in Cleveland because you can't get it in Cleveland. I'm gonna go with my favorite fast food burger, and I get it every time I'm in Texas. It's from Whataburger.
Yeah,
and it is, in my opinion, the best fast food burger. It's a little extra mustardy.
Okay.
Which, if you don't like mustard, that's gonna sound weird, but it doesn't hit you that kind of way. Oh,
what so good, burger. Huh?
Give it to me.
What is it? Just a double cheeseburger? Is that all? Like, what is it? What's the order?
No, it's just like a normal cheeseburger. Oh, hey, Brian. We're gonna say hi to everybody. Hey, Brian.
What up, man?
Good evening, sir. It's like a normal cheeseburger. It's like you can get a double, but it's just a cheeseburger, patty, cheese, bun, pickle.
Okay.
They'll do like the lettuce and all that, but then it's just like a little bit of extra mustard that like sets it apart.
Okay.
Outrageous.
All right.
I'm going to go chalk on the fries, but I'm going to give honorable mention because I do think they are potentially undefeated. Honorable mention is piping hot McDonald's French fries when they're salted properly.
Yeah,
when they are salted properly.
That's the key.
Are still way up there, but I'm going to chalk it. I love Arby's curly fries.
Yeah. All right.
I could just scarf curly fries.
Yeah.
Where'd you go? You went to a drink?
Yeah.
Maybe like a Culver's milkshake.
Okay.
Culver's does make some awesome milkshakes.
Culver's does make great milkshakes.
And I struggle with calling Swenson's fast food.
Okay.
It's like a drive-in. It's not like fast food.
But they sprint it to you.
Oh, I'm not arguing. I'm not saying your pick was wrong by any stretch. And then dessert, I won't be able to sleep tonight if I put together this list of things for fast food restaurants and I don't include south of the border Taco Bell. So give me the cinnamon twists from Taco Bell.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. It's a great question. It's great
because I could have went 4 completely different answers.
Right, for sure. Same here.
And still thought I was right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Chad.
There's nothing wrong with the combos. Nothing wrong.
That's a good one, dude. So yeah, listen, while we're hanging out, I told you to go follow the OBR on the socials. I told you to get over to the OBR.com and make sure you're subscribed, especially for tomorrow for the free VIP article day. But make sure while you're doing all that, get to the Garage Beers on the socials at the Garage Beers on Twitter and Instagram. Get over to the TikTok page, Garage Beers Podcast over there. We do a lot of stuff on the TikTok page, so make sure you're following us over there. And yeah, make sure you're checking us out. We got PW Fan 02, Wendy's Spicy Chicken. Again, that was a nice call out. Arby's Fries, Sonic Cherry Limeade.
Cherry Limeade. Okay.
That's a really good one. And a DQ Reese's Peanut Butter Blizzard. That's an awesome list there, PW Fan. By the way, if you're ever at Dairy Queen and you're getting a Blizzard, if you like Butterfinger, my wife turned me onto this. Butterfinger Blizzard, but have them add peanut butter into it.
Oh, let's go.
Outrageous.
Yeah. I'm not convinced Dairy Queen is actually ice cream, but for fast food purposes, it's
soft serve. It's soft
serve. Even then, though.
Ooh. You know what my all-time, I might have to switch my dessert, although I hate taking Taco Bell off. But if we're bringing Dairy Queen into this, those little cupcakes, they call them the cupcakes, the one for the little cup.
Yeah.
It's like the chocolate and then the crunchy part and the fudge. And then,
That's the best part about Dairy Queen is that anytime you can get the chocolate crunch in anything,
I love those.
It's unreal. It adds an unreal element to your dessert.
Zuxu Chengo's never been to Sonic. You got to get to a Sonic. The food's not great, but the drinks are.
Yeah. Just go.
Right.
Everybody's got to go once.
Love it. Good evening, Sean. Welcome on in.
Hello, Sean.
So as the show goes on, we will kind of update you as the Cavs game goes along. The Cavs were getting their doors blown off to start this game. They have made it a game against the Celtics. Right now they're down. Well, they just went down 11. But they keep
they dug themselves a bit too deep of a hole. They might not be able to pull themselves out.
Well, listen, we were podcasting around this exact time last year.
Yeah.
When they were down by 22 to the Celtics and Dean Wade scored 100 straight points and they won that game.
That's true.
So that's true. But they've showed a really good fight after starting terribly in this game. So we'll keep you posted on that. A wild week of NBA trades. We will obviously hit on the Luka trade later. I can't wait to talk to you about that, Chad, because that is one of the wildest things I think I've ever seen in all of sports. We're going to preview the Super Bowl, like I said. But first things we're going to do is we're going to start with the Cleveland Browns. We're going to start with Myles Garrett, and we can't even dive into that topic without talking about our Garage Beers of the Week first, because I might need to drink a full beer before we even go into this topic. But let's do our Garage Beers of the Week. Chad, what are you drinking this week?
I'm already about 6 of these in. It's Saucy Brewworks 3 Hose Christmas ale right Great there. Christmas present, and I'm drinking tonight because the Browns just drive me to drink. Sorry.
Yep, sure do. 3 Hose, good call. And listen, the Christmas beers in February, they still hit. It's
still cold. It warms the loins in you because it's a darker beer. It's has a nice little spice to it.
Did you say loins?
Yeah, and it just warms you up on a cold winter's night.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a free shout out because they're in Maryland, so I don't even feel about giving them a free ad, but there's this really cool restaurant/beer store here called Brew Belly.
Okay.
And they serve poutine and they serve cheesesteaks, and then it's like a beer store. It's like a wall of coolers. Oh, it's amazing.
Joking my ass.
And then it's like you go in and play games. It's just the coolest place. Anyways, it's in Olney, Maryland, which is a great little town. And so I just left with a bunch of they sell local beers. I left with a bunch of local beers, and so I got this one, which is from a place called Black Flag Brewing Company.
Oh, I've had Black Flag. So good.
Out of Columbia, Maryland.
Yeah.
And this is a stout. It's not just any stout. It's a French toast stout. It's called French Toasted.
Ooh, okay.
And yeah, it tastes like a French toast beer. It's exactly what it tastes like.
That's amazing. Oh yeah, motor oil. It's maple syrup. Sometimes if you feel a little froggy, you put a little maple syrup in your head, in your hair.
Just you got a little maple action going there. You got the little sugar action going there. That is delicious. That is delightful.
I have an emerging maple syrup conglomerate right now, and it's amazing.
Well, good. I hope it goes well for you.
Oh, damn it. I was hoping you would pick up on it.
I didn't. I don't know that reference.
Wedding Crashers. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not very good. That's not a quotable movie for me so much. Some parts.
Gotcha. No, but remember that time I had that Japanese rice lager on the show? That was from Black Flag. It's a great brewery out there.
Yeah, there's certain parts of that movie, Wedding Crashers. My favorite line is when Christopher Walken says, "She's not just another notch in your belt." And Vince Vaughn's like, "I'm not even wearing a belt."
Yeah, beltless.
All right, those are our garage beers of the week. Get into the comments. Let us know what you are drinking, whether you are watching us on YouTube, whether you're watching us on Twitch, whether you're over on X watching us or on Instagram. Just hit the comments. Let us know what you're drinking while you're hanging out with us here on this fine Tuesday night. But now let's get into episode 249 of the Garage Beers podcast, and we're going to start with the Cleveland Browns. And I think it hit us all like a ton of bricks yesterday, right around midday yesterday, when we got that notification, or if you were on Twitter, you saw it, where I think it was Albert Breer that posted it. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't credit the wrong
Rappaport,
person.
I think was the first one I saw.
Yeah, okay. Breer was talking about it later. It was Rappaport. I don't know why I would even guess it was anybody else, but
right.
But the letter came out from Myles Garrett talking about how he loves Cleveland and how he loved being a Cleveland Brown and how he loves the people and the fans and the city and all that stuff. And he made a really interesting little comment that said he's not really interested in a road from Cleveland to Canton. He's interested in Super Bowls.
Whoa, and shocking.
And the very end of it said, "So it's a tough decision, but I've officially requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns." So I think we all probably reacted the same way, with all of our buttholes puckered all at one time, where we were all, you just felt that gut punch. You felt that wind go out of your sails a little bit. But Chad, man, when you saw it, when you read it, walk me through your first impressions.
Honestly, my first impressions was it was very mixed, right? Because the trend lately that you've been seeing is these franchise players, these impact players on these teams requesting trades, really as a form of communication publicly to an organization to get their shit together. You better start having a good plan going forward. You better make adjustments. You better start. I better see a future here towards a championship, or else I'm going to be gone. Right. So on one hand, it made me think of that. It made me think like, okay, this is just a message, right? The posturing and pressure is on for Myles, right? And now the other side of that, that statement came out quickly, right? We don't really see statements like that when these franchise players and these impact players do that. And it came out quickly. So it makes me think that he's done. But I don't know. This is like a fluid situation for me, right? I don't know what's going to come of this. I don't know if they're actually going to trade him, because there's other factors that go into play to be able to make him even tradable. So I'm not as upset, as mad as I'm not catastrophizing this as much as a lot of other people are, because I'm not so certain that it's actually going to happen, even though he wants to request a trade. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this moving forward.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people probably felt the same way. Obviously the reaction, and it's understandable, right? The initial reaction, and frankly, the reaction over the past 24, 36 hours from a lot of fans is, well, they're just, and frankly, from a lot of writers who I kind of think should kind of know better than to write this way, but
yeah,
is the assumption that he's gone, the assumption that, well, he requested a trade, so they're going to trade him. And I understand that. And you never want to hear that somebody's malcontented, that you never want to hear that somebody doesn't want to be with your organization. Certainly not when it's the best defensive player that has played for the Browns since 1999.
Right.
Certainly when it's not a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer. Certainly when it's not a guy that I think he might win. I think he might win the stinking Defensive Player of the Year award again.
Right. Regardless of what team he's on, he will.
No, I mean for this year.
Oh yeah.
I understand kind of the panic and the oh shit kind of moment there.
Sure.
But I also think it's contributed by every major source that covers the NFL is immediately coming out with, here's the destinations for Myles Garrett. Here's where Myles Garrett could wind up. Here's what the Bills could put together. Here's what the 49ers could put together. And immediately it throws in, which, again, it's understandable. But I think it all feeds into this feeling of, yeah, he's gone. And in reality, there's a lot of time that they have to get this figured out.
Sure.
And there's a lot of reasons why things like this happen. And I know a lot of you may have come from the React, and I'd imagine Pete Smith brought this up, but you only have to look at precedents, right? The Browns have a precedence with this. David Njoku requested a trade just a few years ago.
Right.
David Njoku said he wanted out, and it was public, and he requested his trade. And the Browns didn't do it. They did not acquiesce to that request. And they worked out a new contract with David Njoku, and he's still here playing for the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
I think the one that's maybe a little bit more closely related to this situation, and it's almost like everybody's forgotten about it, is Lamar Jackson in Baltimore.
Right.
Because even though the request went public with Njoku, there was never like any kind of like back and forth. You didn't hear any like bad mouthing on either side.
Sure.
But Lamar Jackson publicly requests a trade.
Right.
Somebody with the Ravens calls him a child. Like they insult him.
Right.
This drags on for weeks where it looked like for certain Lamar Jackson is leaving the Baltimore Ravens. We were talking about the Washington Commanders. We were talking about a whole bunch of teams, the Atlanta Falcons at the time, where that would be good spots for Lamar Jackson. And it went on for weeks. And then next thing you know, you get the notification on your phone that Lamar Jackson has agreed to a contract to stay with the Baltimore Ravens. And the whole thing gets swept under the rug. And it was contentious. And it was kind of ugly and nasty. And it was very public. And yet, as soon as that contract got signed, it was just over and it was done.
Right.
And he's been an MVP since, and he's been one of the better players in the league ever since for the Baltimore Ravens. So the precedence of a guy coming out and requesting a trade, it's not new, and it does not mean the dude is going to get traded. There are a lot of reasons why a guy might do this. Reason number one is always going to be contract, right, Chad?
Right. Absolutely.
But I don't know about you. I certainly do think I almost called him LeBron. Jesus.
Well, he is with Clutch, so.
Yeah, right. I certainly do think that Clutch and Maverick Carter would like Myles Garrett to be the top paid defensive player in the NFL.
Sure.
And I think Myles Garrett would want to be the top paid player in the NFL.
Yeah, of course he does.
Certainly. Like, Chad, I think contract comes into this, but I don't think it's the biggest thing.
No, I don't. And, my first thought when you mentioned the Lamar Jackson trade request and that whole spiel and that whole drama that went on, my first thought is, well, Baltimore was still good at the time. Baltimore was still was going to win football games. Baltimore was in a much better situation than the Browns are right now. Baltimore is. They always have been in a better situation than the Browns. So it's, I contract, it probably does play a factor into it, but I gotta think that winning football games is also like if the Browns were in a better situation right? It would make it so easy for me to be like, yes, it's contract. Obviously, he wants to get paid. He wants to be the highest paid defensive player in the NFL. But I really, you got to take into account really what this organization's plan is going forward. Obviously, we're not going to see that until free agency hits. We're not going to see that till the draft, but we're not going to see that for at least another month until the new league year hits. So for the next month, it's all just going to be speculation. Like, how is this all going to play out? Which again is why I just went, okay, well, it could be here. It could be here. And like, there's all kinds of issues and reasons, like you said, that this could happen, Mike. And I'm just interested to see how it plays out. I'm not in the ballpark in the camp of it's going to happen, but man, I don't think it's like it's not a definite one way or the other. Like, it's so up in the air for me right now. It's so 50-50. Like, this very well could get done, even though how difficult it's going to be. But I don't know. I just don't see him leaving either. Right. I know I hate to be Switzerland on this, but it's just, there's just, too much shit going on.
Nobody can predict what a guy is going to do. Nobody can predict what the situation is. But Sean asked it here. Do you think this is money driven or atmosphere / team future driven? So here's what I think drove what just happened. Because don't you think it's funny that Miles' tone on this changed dramatically in the course of just a couple of days? I mean, we just got done listening to Myles Garrett talk about this team isn't as far off as you might think. And we're close. And we've got to get a couple things figured out, but the talent here is close. We went from that to I want to win Super Bowls, I want to trade. And I think what set it over the edge, Chad, and I'm not, this isn't to like blame anybody, but I do think it was the comments by Andrew Berry that set Myles Garrett over the edge. I think when Andrew Berry, when he was asked in that press conference about, thoughts on Myles Garrett, what are you going to do to keep him here for a long period of time? And Andrew Berry went on and on about individual accolades for Myles Garrett. He went on and on about we want him to be defensive player of the year a bunch of times. And we want him, again, he made that comment, the road from Cleveland to Canton. We want him to retire in Cleveland and go to Canton. And I think this is a message from Myles Garrett to the Cleveland Browns, and specifically Andrew Berry, that doesn't say, I don't think this is a definitive, I don't want to play here. I think what this says is you need to switch your philosophy. Stop thinking about me in Canton and start thinking about me with rings on my fingers. Stop thinking about what's going to happen in 20 years and start thinking about what's going to happen next year and the year after that and the year after that. And start approaching this damn thing like you want to win the Super Bowl every single year. And you need to start doing whatever it takes to do that. And yes, that means you're going to have to wiggle out of some situations, Deshaun Watson. And yes, it means you're going to have to figure other things out. But I think that's the message right now from Myles Garrett to the Cleveland Browns. And I think the message, it is clear. If that's not going to be the philosophy, if this isn't going to be about let's go out this year and try to win a Super Bowl, then go ahead and get rid of me.
Okay, did those comments about we're not that far off, did that come out before he said we're going to have conversations, and if I don't like those conversations going forward?
No, it was after.
So that was after that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean then that makes sense then if that's the comments that set him over the edge, because I don't think Andrew Berry is not focused on Super Bowls. I think he just misspoke in the moment. I think he just was asked about Myles, right? I think he was just asked about Myles and Myles.
I'll be honest with you, Chad. I maybe disagree with you a little bit. I think Andrew Berry is very focused on building a team a certain way.
Yeah, well, sure.
And I think Andrew Berry is very focused on like the fiscal and financial responsibility that comes with trying to maintain a team that can contend, and that's great. Sure. But I don't know. I don't know that anybody feels, and I think Myles Garrett's making it clear that Andrew Berry's sole focus when the year starts is we need to win a Super Bowl. And I think that's what Miles is trying to get across. This isn't we're not here. You need to be smart about how you do it, and you need to watch the cap, and you need to be, you need to be responsible the way you are, but you need to put a little bit more emphasis on how are we going to win titles, because Myles Garrett has been in the league since 2017, and you don't have that much time left before your body breaks down.
Right.
So I think to me, that's the message from Myles is quit with all the other bullshit talk and figure out a way to put a roster together that we can go win a Super Bowl this year. And if you don't, I don't think the trade request is hollow, but I think it's more of if you are not going to do that, if you're not going to switch this, if you're not going to make me believe that you are switching your mentality and you're quitting worried about, you're stopping the conversation about me going from Cleveland to Canton, because I don't care right now about that. If you're not going to change your philosophy, then I do want you to trade me. I think that's what the message is.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And if that's the case, I'm scared that he's going to get traded. I'm scared that he's going to get traded because no significant changes were made this offseason as far as there's nothing, at least at this point, there's nothing that suggests that the Browns are going to change their philosophy and how they do things. They do have to wiggle out of a couple of situations. Hopefully that happens. So that makes me think, that makes me lean towards that he's actually going to get traded, because I don't know. This organization is obviously hard-headed. This organization has been set in their ways for so long. Can they change it? Yeah, of course. Anybody can change. But yeah, it's just not the way they operate. Hopefully it changes and Miles stays. We'll see.
So I think the other element that is going to continue to get talked about more and more, and you've seen more big writers talking about it, but we've got somebody here with the OBR that's been talking about it from the jump. The other element of this is the Browns don't have to trade Myles Garrett.
No, they don't.
The Browns do not. He's under contract for the next 2 years, and then they've got franchise opportunities after that.
Right.
I know everybody thinks that they're going to face this pressure or whatever. Myles Garrett isn't going to sit out for the next 2 years. So the Browns aren't just going to go make a trade for the sake of making a trade. And trading Myles Garrett right now is insanely bad for the financial part and the financial security and the financial flexibility of the Cleveland Browns. So the Browns aren't going to do something that both hurts them on the field and then hurts them when it comes to salary caps, dead cap space, that they have to eat dead cap space if they trade Myles Garrett. It will cripple them to do it. And I think that's the other element. So here's what I did, Chad. I reached out to that good buddy of ours. I reached out to the guy that knows, I think, more about the NFL salary cap than the people that designed the NFL salary cap. I reached out to the OBR's very own Jack Duffin.
Okay.
And I said, listen, buddy, I have wanted to have Jack on to have some beers with us on this show, because Jack loves to drink him some beers or ciders or whatever he drinks over there in London. But our show goes on too late.
Right.
And it's the middle of the night in London. And poor Jack has to go to bed because he's a working man. So here's what I did. I reached out to him today and I said, Jack, I would like you to come on to our show today and explain the salary cap ramifications of the Myles Garrett situation. And Jack said, well, I'm going out for 10 drinks tonight, but can I make you the video after that? And I was like, it's better that you do it that way.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
This is Garage Beers. Of course, that's how you should do it.
Yeah.
And so I want to play this video. I think it's a few minutes, but I'm going to bring in this video that Jack Duffin made for us to explain the salary ramifications of what it looks like to actually trade Myles Garrett. So here's Jack.
So here we go. Mike Keith reached out to me today, and in the spirit of Garage Beers, I went out, drunk 10 beers, and now I'm recording a video for you tonight for the show. It's 1 a.m. at the time I'm recording now in the UK. So have an amazing Wednesday. That's where I am. But enjoy your Tuesday night on your side. So what Mike's asked me to do, and well, hey, I better explain it. I drink cider. So Angry Orchard's probably the closest stuff you have in the US. But I drink a much more fruity blend, a bit of mixed fruit, Swedish cider. Really, really good. It basically tastes like squash cordial. I don't know quite what you call it in the US, but phenomenal drink. It's one of those that you can drink 10 of them. It doesn't really taste like you're drinking, but then you stand up and yeah, you can start to feel it. But that is what I drink. Absolutely love the stuff, which is probably not in keeping with garage beers. Probably the least manly thing you've ever had mentioned on this show, but I am fully on board with that. Absolutely love the stuff. So why Mike's actually asked me to join the show and chat about something. So Miles Garrett is asked for a trade. Let's look at the financials, everything like that. I've done an article, it's on the OBR, broken it down, the financials for the Cleveland Browns on trading Miles Garrett. So Miles Garrett's asked for his trade, and I won't get into the full. If you want full rebuild, there is an article I wrote in December. I've tweeted it out. It's linked in this article. You can look at that. But if you want to go full rebuild, you're writing off the 2025-2026 season. And by all means, if people want to make the case, I'm not opposed to it. I understand it. But it's that fundamental point of, do you believe if the Cleveland Browns got a top 16 quarterback, they're in the playoffs or not? If you don't think that's the case with a couple of nice free agency moves, blow it up, tear it down. I get it. If you believe, hey, in top 16 quarterback, they're in the playoffs and they're able to then roll the dice, who knows what happens, then you're not blowing it up. Not for the sake of 2-year blow up. So if they trade Miles Garrett, they're going to take on 36 million of dead cap. And what that dead cap relates to is money he was paid in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. This is not new money. This is old money. They backload it on the deals. And the reason for that is that's how they spend 120% more than the salary cap each year and keep rolling it in. Perfectly sustainable, but the model isn't designed for you to blow things up every few years. So if you want to blow it up and tear it down, it's going to take 2 years. It'll be brutal. If you want to keep sustaining this, keep spending loads of money, put the best team on the field possible every single year, you're able to do that. It's not one where there's a middle ground. So people have asked, well, what can we do to bring that number down? You cannot bring that number down. You can't change his contract. It's already at the lowest possible number. The way you can tweak it is if you trade him on June 2nd. So that would mean about 15 mil in this year, about 21 million in next year of dead cap. The problem is on the 15th of March, he's due $5 million. He would need to sign a new contract that moves that date post maybe to June 3rd or something like that. But the most important date in the diary, as things stands for Miles Garrett, 15th of March. If he is on the roster on the 15th of March and his contract is unchanged, he's on the team, it's not changing. He's going to be here in 2025. If we get to the 15th of March and he's agreed to change his contract, that whole debate keeps raging. But if you want a date in your diary, 15th of March is the date to keep an eye on. Cost for a new team. If you acquire Miles Garrett, if we talk of cash, how much you're paying, 19.8 million in 2025, in 2026, 25 mil, which is incredibly cheap for a player of his quality. The salary cap cost, so the cash is what he's paid, the salary cap cost of how it counts on the cap is roughly 5 million 2025, roughly 10 million in 2026, and then just over 30 million in 2027. So it's one that the cash is going to get paid to him, but those salary cap numbers, because of the way the Browns do the deals, pushes that number out. What might appeal to Miles Garrett here and why he might want to get traded? If we look at DeAndre Hopkins when he was traded to the Cardinals, Deshaun Watson when he was traded to the Cleveland Browns, Aaron Donald when he threatened retirement for the Los Angeles Rams, they effectively tore up the current contract and said, hey, don't worry about your current deal. We'll give you an entirely new deal and forget that. Don't worry about it. And rather than going, hey, we might give him 4 years of 35 mil and we'll blend it in with these 2 cheaper years, they just go, hey, we'll give you 35 million each in the next 4 years in cash. That then suddenly starts earning him a significant pay rise rather than 4 years at 35 million, one at 20, one at 25 blended together. If he gets 4 years, 35 million, that's a major, major pay bump, which could be a reason why he wants to move. And lots of people have said it's not about the money. Miles Garrett and his team are going to tell you it's not about the money. In the same way, Andrew Berry is going to tell you he's never going to trade Miles Garrett. Because if you go into a negotiation and say it's all about the money, or, yeah, I'm open to trading Miles Garrett, that prices drop. So while I don't think they trade him, Andrew Berry cannot say, I'm open to trading Miles Garrett. In the same way, Miles Garrett can't say, this is about the money, because it puts you in a bad spot. The top of the edge market and the defensive line market, you can put Aaron Donald, Chris Jones in that, is currently 34 million with Nick Bosa. So I'd say Miles is going to want to set the top of that market. We're talking somewhere 35 to 40 million. And it's where that number comes in. So I've broken down the contract in the article, what it looks like. It could easily be one where they've offered 35 million, he wants 40, and this is just a standoff to negotiate what that number is. But the key thing here, the Browns have the leverage because they've got him under contract for 2 more years, 2 cheap years. If they want to franchise tag him in 2027, it's going to be about 27.5 mil. If they want to franchise tag him in 2028, it's going to be about 33 mil, sorry. So it's one that if he doesn't play ball, it's going to be 2029 until he's a free agent. His career is effectively done at that point. Yes, he'll be an above average edge 2 or something, but his time as an edge 1 is probably done by the time he gets to 2029 in terms of elite play. So it's one that he doesn't have this leverage that it's made out to be. I don't think some people understand quite. Once you sign these deals and you put lots of years on them, it is what it is. We've seen players, the Cowboys have done some players where they sign them up to really long deals, and then at the back end they're not happy. It doesn't change anything. They can be not happy, but you've signed that deal. Tough. That's a problem where you should be angry at your agent, not angry at the team you've done the deal with. I honestly believe a deal is going to get done. I would put it about an 80% chance that by the time we get to the first game of the season, an extension is signed. I believe 80% chance it is an extension rather than getting traded. That's just where I stand. Looking at the numbers, looking at what's going to happen here, because they can tank it and blow it all up for 2 years, but everyone's going to go. Whereas if they can agree a number with Myles Garrett and they say, look, we're going to pay you 38 million for the next 4-year deal. Let's get this done. Let's sign it. Blend it in with those 2 cheaper years. Find a middle ground. I honestly believe this is more about money than success. Because if it was about success, he could have said this during the season. He could have said it ages ago. I just think the number hasn't been good enough. And I think that's on the Browns to find the right number. And it could be more about the structure of guarantees rather than the exact number. But I think a middle ground will be found and this will get wrapped up. But 15th of March, put that pin in the diary. That is the date to watch out for. If he is on the roster on that day, he's staying here. He needs to find a solution. It's more on Myles Garrett to find a solution than it is the Cleveland Browns. This isn't a Cleveland Browns problem. This is on Myles Garrett. You need to agree and sign a deal, or you just need to accept you are here long term, at least for 4 more seasons. That's just the way the NFL is. Leverage is not on the player's side, I'm afraid. So thank you for listening. Mike, have a cracking show. And please enjoy good old Swedish cider rather than your American beers.
Bam. Thank you.
Where the fuck am I supposed to get Swedish cider?
He said his cider tasted like squash cordial, and I don't know what that is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't have a clue what squash cordial is or what I am supposed to even assume that is.
Okay. Wow. That sounds like it is I don't know. I can't even
Did
you Google it?
It's like a juice.
Oh, what?
Squash is like the name of the brand.
It's a sour?
Is squash? It's like a fruit juice. That's all it is.
Oh. What?
He was drinking cider that tasted like fruit juice. I don't know why they just call it juice. These people are
alcoholic
these
fruit
people
juice.
are-
The fuck is the matter with you people?
These people over there calling things weird ass names. Squash cordial. It's called juice, Jack. It's called juice.
Yeah.
Listen, big time shout out to Jack Duffin. I know you guys already all follow him, but go follow him at Jack Duffin. And I'm going to tell you what.
Listen, conversation over. He's staying.
and then I'm gonna let you go, Chad. But I want to say this. I've already told you guys about this a couple times. Tomorrow, OBR.com. If you're not already like a VIP subscriber, all the VIP articles are free tomorrow on the OBR.com. And Jack has like 100 of them that are set to post tomorrow. So if you want to read more in depth about all of this tomorrow at the OBR.com. So Chad, what's your takeaway from all the incredible information you just got from Jack Duffin?
Honestly, it's plain and simple. He's staying. He's signing a new contract, and he's staying. The Browns, all he had to say was that the Browns have all the leverage, right? The Browns have all the leverage, and yeah, it's. Sorry, even if he wants to get traded, Jack made it sound like he just can't. Right, no matter how bad he wants to, it feels like Miles is going to be forced to stay here, whether he likes it or not. So he might as well be the dominant Miles that he's been in. Welcome back, Miles. Welcome back.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
The number that he put on it was the number that I had on it. I feel about 80% that Miles is still going to be here. Now, listen, the Browns aren't just going to take a dude. I don't know that Miles will do this. It seems out of character for sure. But if Miles becomes like a problem, like a locker room problem,
right,
then yeah, they'll talk about trading him.
Sure. I doubt, but that's just not in his nature to do that.
Right. But in the end, if Miles is just going to be the kind of player that Miles is, and if the Browns can figure out that number, I think it is much, much, much more likely that we find a resolution the same way the Baltimore Ravens found a resolution with Lamar Jackson,
right?
And that the Browns found one with David Njoku, and all of that. I think it's such a negative impact on and off the field for the Browns to trade Myles Garrett that I just can't see. I can't see it happening. So I hope Jack gave you a little peace of mind. He certainly did for me, and I know he did for you.
Yeah, he 100% did. Like what's left there to talk about in Cleveland sports now? Like it was just like, okay, Miles is going to be here. He just made me feel so much better about that situation.
Yeah, cherry cordial. That's all I want to say. Or squash cordial. And I know it's cordial, but he's called it cordial because again, they don't apparently the English have trouble with English. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with Jack.
Hold on. Okay, so if it's just juice, is it squash flavored juice? Because squash doesn't.
Squash is like what it's like. From what I saw, cordial is the name of it, or squash is the name of it, or sometimes they call it squash cordial.
Okay,
it's just what they call like the kind of juice that it is.
I've heard of a cordial. I think I've seen that at Winking Lizard on the beer list.
But it's like it'll be like strawberry squash cordial.
Oh,
it's weird.
Super.
I don't know. But that's what Jack was drinking. So, shout out to Jack for having like 10 of those things and then coming on and accurately explaining the Myles Garrett contract situation. That was awesome. So make sure you go follow Jack. So Chad, let's wrap up the Myles Garrett segment of this conversation by saying
made this. Real bits of squash.
Made bits of real Panther. Again, follow Jack. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to what a lot of people at the OBR have been saying from the jump, and that is, does this Myles Garrett trade request mean Myles Garrett is going to get traded? The answer is no. Could he? Yes. Could a team come to the Browns and go, we will give you everything you want for Myles Garrett, and the Browns go, well, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it is going to take, whatever the word is for beyond a king's ransom is what it's going to take for Myles. After hearing that, it's going to take whatever it would be called beyond a king's ransom to be able to snag Myles from the Browns.
So it just, again, I think it goes back, though, to the videos that you and I made on TikTok and we put them on Twitter and all that, which is just, can this experience ever be fun for more than like one season or one half a season at a time? Can the Cleveland Browns fan experience ever be fun for more than like a minute? Because in the scheme, again, it is, I know we talk about it all the time, but when you put into perspective the fact that since 1999, this team has won they've played in 3 playoff games. They've won one of them.
Yeah.
We're pushing 30 years on this situation. And the vast majority of the tenure of the new Browns it's riddled with jokes. It's riddled with somebody doing something stupid or a player getting caught being stupid or the Browns making a bad trade or a player doing cocaine in a bathroom in Vegas, or it just, this is supposed
boner. It's just weird.
This is supposed to be way more fun, man. This is supposed to be way more fun than this. And it is not.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's supposed to be way more fun, but no, it seems impossible for the Cleveland Browns. It feels impossible for the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
And it's just like you said in your video, Mike, this city just deserves so much better than this. Right. And this year with everything that happened, it just feels to me, and I know I've mentioned this before, but it's as someone who grew up like as a Cleveland Browns fan, right? Like this team to me anymore, history growing up as a Browns fan, does not matter to me anymore. It's gotten to a point where, when this team wins a game, it's not going to feel exciting to me, right? It's not, because I feel like as a fan, right?
Yep.
It feels like to me, it's like, when are we going to hold this team accountable? When are we going to hold this team accountable? Well, obviously, people say, "Oh, they should protest the games." Nobody should. That's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen at all. But you got to find some way to hold this team accountable. And
but they are protesting an empty stadium in downtown.
Yeah, that's so fucking dumb. Why didn't you go to Berea, you idiots? Where everybody else is. And so I think my way of doing that is if this team wins a game next year, I'm not going to get excited, Mike. We're going to sit here and recap the games, and all I'm going to say is what they could do better, what they could have done better, what they could be better, because it's time. At least in some form. Obviously, it's not going to matter, and it's going to make me feel better as a fan, and I don't know, it's not going to make anybody else feel better. But it's just, in my mind, this team needs to be pushed in different ways now. And as a fan, I'm not getting excited. I'm not getting my hopes up about this team. When it's all about accountability, and when are you going to actually become a fully functional football team?
Yep.
When are you going to become a basic fucking NFL team and end this 25 years of misery?
Yeah, 100%. So let's move on real quick. I do want to talk about this just for a few minutes. So moving off the Browns, because this is the big story, and it's going to be the thing. The biggest downside of this whole thing, even if Myles Garrett returns, is that we're going to have this thing lingering over our heads until it's resolved, and it's probably not going to be resolved for a while. You heard Jack talk about March 15th.
Right.
There's a chance that this isn't even resolved at that point. Right. And so to have this just lingering over everybody's head is just going to be obnoxious. It's going to be obnoxious. But let's go to the other side. Let's talk about two cities that don't need any more, that don't deserve better. It's two teams and two cities that are going to have a rematch in the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs looking for their third straight Super Bowl title, the first time any team has ever done that. And the Philadelphia Eagles looking to make up for the loss that they had a couple of years ago when was it Chris Stapleton that sung the national anthem, and he had Nick Sirianni just crying a river of tears on the sideline?
Yeah, I think so.
we got the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday, Chad. So, one,
Yay.
does anybody care about this game? Does anybody care about this game?
I don't think anybody does outside of Philadelphia and Kansas City. That's for sure.
Like,
I don't know. This is the least interested I've been in the Super Bowl in quite a while.
Like, you know what I can say about the Super Bowl this year, Chad?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna watch it.
Okay.
Think about how wild that is. think about how wild that is.
Yeah.
Like, when in your whole life have you ever been like, yeah, I'm not watching the Super Bowl? But I'm like, I think I'm going to, but like, if my family like wants to do something else, I might do that. Like,
okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
It's at 6:30 at night on a school night. I mean, what are you going to do?
I just don't. I guess I'm going to watch it because I like the commercials and I like the halftime shows and I like all that stuff. So I guess I'll still watch it. And because I always want to pay attention to what's happening in sports and all that. So I guess if we're going to do a sports podcast, we should watch the Super Bowl. But like,
we got to know what's going on.
I don't know, man. It just feels like it's just the same story repeated. It feels like the Philadelphia Eagles had a good season. They got hot at the right time. They've had a great run through the playoffs. I mean, they've been amazing in the playoffs.
Right.
But they're about to run into the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. The Chiefs have reached Patriot level to where it's like it's until somebody knocks them off, they're going to be the favorites every year, and this is no different, right? The Chiefs this year won in a completely different fashion than they have in years past. They've grinded out games, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is another close game. And then on the other side, you got the Eagles, where really the only thing that's changed about them is Saquon Barkley is him. Saquon Barkley is him. And he's been re-energized. He's a guy. He's the guy. So, I mean, that's kind of really the only X factor to me in this game. I think, if Saquon Barkley can just run all over the Chiefs, I think the Eagles have themselves a chance. But otherwise, I'm fully expecting the Chiefs to win their three-peat, to go for the three-peat.
So who are you rooting for? Who do you want to win this game?
Nobody. I don't care. I don't care at all.
Yeah, but right? Okay, now place yourself on your couch.
Okay.
And the game's on.
Okay.
Because I have plenty of games that I will sit and watch that I don't really care who wins until I start watching the game. And then I'm like, ooh, I would like this team to win. Like,
sure.
That actually happens to us. It happens all the time when we're broadcasting high school football games. Chad and I don't give a shit who wins the high school football games. But then you like learn the stories of the teams and stuff. And you're like, this team won.
Right.
I could cheer for that. So put yourself on the couch Sunday. Who are you going to start? Who are you going to lean towards?
Honestly, I'm probably going to lean towards Philly, just because I love Saquon. I do. Everything you've ever read about Saquon, everything you've ever heard about Saquon, is just what a good dude he is. Right, like I remember reading a story about at Penn State where people would go to the bar and buy him shots, and he would be sitting in the corner all quiet.
Yep.
And people would buy him shots, and he would gracefully take the shot. Look over at whoever bought him the shot, say thank you, and all those shots would be sitting there laying on the table at the end of the night. Yep. But he didn't want to turn it down because he didn't want to be an asshole. I'm probably leaning towards Philly because I would like to see Saquon get a ring.
I love that answer, actually, to be honest with you. The Saquon thing is something that I haven't thought about a lot, but yeah, class dude, man. Class dude.
Yeah.
And remember that time he jumped over a guy backwards? That was cool.
Yeah. He's also not on top of being a nice guy, he's also just an insane athlete.
I'm actually rooting for the Chiefs.
Okay.
And the only reason I say that is we maybe have a chance to see something nobody else has ever seen before.
Sure.
3 consecutive Super Bowls, as boring as it is to watch a team just win. Like think about the fact that the Tom Brady Patriots dynasty teams.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have a chance on Sunday to do something that they never did.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to side in favor of something historic.
Sure.
There's really nothing historic if Philadelphia wins.
No.
Maybe this would have been different if they hadn't won that Super Bowl, however many years ago that was with Nick Foles, because then it would be like, oh, Phillies, they've never won the Super Bowl and blah blah blah, but they just won it not long ago.
Sure.
I'm going to side on history. I'm going to side on the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. And then, like Chef Brian K says here in the comments, Kelsey's going to propose marriage to Taylor Swift on the 50-yard line after the game, holding the Lombardi trophy.
Super. Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
I mean, that'd be sweet. Listen, who would ever thought a Cleveland guy would marry Taylor Swift? That's pretty sweet.
I still like to think that, and actually, I have no idea where the Kelsey's parents, I don't even know if they still live here anymore.
No. Well, at least I know the mom lives in like Florida.
I like to think they live in one of those like very stereotypical Cleveland Heights houses, and Taylor Swift comes over for Thanksgiving.
I was about to say, do you think Travis has taken Taylor out in Cleveland yet? Like, did they just chill in Coventry? Like, they're like, I got this sweet Mongolian barbecue. I'm going to go.
I was going to say, not just Cleveland, but Cleveland Heights for sure.
Like, oh my God. Like, oh, did you guys see this? Like, the Floating Marys are playing at the Grog Shop. We got to go see them. I can just hang out backstage.
Hey, one of my favorite bars in all of Cleveland. I shouldn't tell people this because it's my little, like, it's not really a hidden secret, but you got to know about it. But there's a barber shop in Cleveland Heights called Quintana's Barbershop.
Oh, yeah.
And above Quintana's Barbershop is like a speakeasy that you actually have to like walk through the bookcase to get into.
Yeah.
And they make amazing drinks. So
yeah,
maybe he takes her to Quintana's. Maybe I'll run into him over there.
Amazing. Like Coventry, like he's going to like I know it's closed now, but like he took her to Big Fun and just looked at like Taylor has just like this amazing collection of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle dolls now.
Big Fun. It was great. Yeah. All right. So Chad, real quick, give me your final score prediction for the Super Bowl.
Oh God. 24-22 Chiefs.
Nice. That would be a fun game.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I think it because the Chiefs have made a living on playing close games this year, so I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I was thinking like I just something about the Eagles make me feel like they're not going to play great in this game. Yeah. I don't know why, but maybe it's one of those ones that are close, but I think Kansas City kind of runs away with. So I was thinking like 31-21.
Okay. Kansas City. I mean, it's all about whether Jalen Hurts can actually throw the ball, can actually like hit an open receiver.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then
it's full offseason time. And then we start talking about the Browns and the draft. I mean, listen, this draft could be fun. I want to bring one more thing up before we get off of football altogether. But doesn't matter. Put this in the comments before Chad. The Browns could potentially make a trade if they traded Myles Garrett and end up with the number 2, 10, 33, 39, and 41 picks in this year's draft. I believe that's the Bears.
Yeah, that's the Bears.
So if the Bears wanted Myles Garrett and they said, listen, we'll give you our first and our seconds. So that'd be 5 top 50 players. That return would intrigue the shit out of me.
Well, hell yeah, it would.
I still don't know if the Browns would do it because of the dead cap implications of Myles Garrett actually leaving the Browns.
Right.
But that would be, I wouldn't be mad about that because I think this draft is really strong through 2 rounds.
I mean, it obviously, if it worked out financially, I would say 100% yes. But yeah, I mean, it would, yes. Right. I'm not even going to like go into like the financial, but if it worked out financially, yes, obviously I would love that.
All right. Okay. We're going to move off of football. We're going to split things up here real quick, and we're going to go into our asshole of the week. And again, if you're new to the show, asshole of the week is a little segment we like to do right in the middle of our show where we just call somebody out for being an asshole. But it could be a group of people. It could be one person. It could be whoever we want it to be, but just somebody who just was an asshole this week and needs to get called out. So Chad, lead us off, buddy. Who's your asshole of the week?
I hate making things political here, but I just this whole bill about getting rid of IEPs and everything with children with disabilities and everything. It's an asshole thing to do. I'm not going to like go on a diatribe about it. It's if you don't understand why that is terrible, that is a bad thing to do, then you probably just have no soul. So yes, IEPs. It's bad. It's all bad.
I got a kid on an IEP.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That I agree.
Yeah.
We won't dive deep into politics, but
nope.
Yeah. Let's do what's best for kids.
Nope. But yeah. that just I looked at that and that anything and anything when it comes to dealing with kids and taking taking stuff away from them that can make them their best possible selves, go fuck yourself.
That's good. That's a good. I'm just gonna leave you. I'm gonna let you end it with that.
Right.
That's it. With that.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a good one, Chad. That was like a deep one. I wasn't ready for that. My asshole of the week is going to transition us directly into our next topic because there's nobody. There might be people if we stay in the world of politics, but we're going to get out of the world of politics.
Yes.
There is nobody outside of the world of politics that Dave Klingon-Smith. Hold on. This is a guy. This is one of my very good friends, one of my favorite people that I work with. He's here in this hotel with me. His asshole's the Homewood Suites in Rockville, Maryland.
Oh God. I need to know. I need to know.
All of last week nobody had a hot shower. And then on Thursday, we all woke up to go to work and there was no water anywhere in the hotel. There was just no water. Like you turn your shower on and the water was gone.
Oh God.
And then all the elevators broke. So like I'm on the top floor of this hotel and it's only 6 floors up. So you can walk up and down. No big deal, but still 6 floors. And like, there's people who can't really walk up and down the stairs. Both elevators broken at the same time.
Oh boy.
Like, this place just fell apart.
Oh boy.
And actually in Klingon-Smith's room, he had a water leak. So he was here over the weekend and he was just trying to get some rest because he wasn't feeling great. And he had like industrial fans blowing in his room the whole week. So that's a good one, Klinger. That's a good one. It's a good one. Without further ado, my asshole of the week is Nico Harrison.
Oh yeah.
If you're not familiar
1,000%.
If you're not familiar with the name Nico Harrison is the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. Because Nico Harrison on Saturday night, when I was in Dallas celebrating my buddy's 40th birthday, I was sitting at a bar when the TVs on the bar popped up with breaking news from ESPN that said the Dallas Mavericks have traded their 25-year-old superstar, Luka Doncic, to the Los Angeles Lakers, along with a couple other players, for 1 first-round pick and Anthony Davis, a 31-year-old Anthony Davis. And I don't know the audacity to be that level of an asshole.
Right.
And it isn't just that you traded your best player as he's just coming into his prime.
Right.
It isn't just that you traded the player that your fans have connected with as much as anybody. He was the next Dirk.
Right.
It's that you called the Lakers. Like, this wasn't even like the Lakers calling and being like, hey, what would it take for us to get Luka?
Right.
Nico Harrison called the Lakers. And I can only imagine what that conversation was like. He calls Rob Pelinka, the general manager of the Lakers. And I can only imagine the conversation was like, hey, we want Anthony Davis. And Rob Pelinka was like, we don't really want to give him to you. And Nico Harrison was like, all right, how about we give you Luka? And Rob Pelinka was like, you know what? Rob Pelinka, real quick. Rob Pelinka's like, real quick, let me just run this by the people in the room. Hold on. Yeah, no, we'll take him. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, send him over.
Call it in right now. If you don't fucking call it in right this second, I'm going to lose my mind. What on earth? You do this like backroom deal to get rid of to lose the best player in the whole deal?
Right.
I have no idea what this dude is thinking. We are now days later, right? That happened on Saturday. We are now on Tuesday. We are days later. I still cannot process. I cannot think of something in my head where there's a legitimate reason why this makes sense. I know people are coming up with oh, well, the Mavericks weren't happy about the conditioning of Luka or up this or that or whatever. No. Luka Doncic is a top 5 player in the NBA right now. Luka Doncic led your team. He was the best player on your team last year when they went to the NBA Finals. Luka Doncic sells your jerseys. Luka Doncic sells your tickets. All of that. And you just went, nah. Well, we're gonna bring in. Remember that time Anthony Davis almost played a full season that one year though? Like, what if he does that again?
Yeah, that was
What the fuck is going on?
That'd be sweet. Yeah.
Nico Harrison is absolutely my asshole of the week. And Chad, man, I know that when we list the major sports, the NBA is not at the top of your list. But when you see that trade get announced, I don't know. Are you as shocked as I am?
Yeah. I mean, and I know, like you said, the NBA is not at the top of my list, but obviously, I mean, I do know, like when premier players like that, and I know the premier players in the NBA, when something like that happens, yeah, of course I'm going to pay attention to it, and of course I'm going to look into why. And like you said, the fact that the Lakers were the only team that had a shot at trading for Luka, if he was even that he was even on the market, that nobody else knew that he was even available. Do you have any idea? And if I'm Mark Cuban, I am calling Nico Harrison into my office and going, "What the fuck did you just do?"
Remember, Mark Cuban doesn't own the Mavericks anymore.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Like whatever. If I'm the ownership, if whatever, whoever fuck owns the Mavericks. If I'm them, I'm calling him in and going, "Excuse me, you mean all the other NBA teams didn't have a shot at this, and we could talk about the return, like, the return that teams would have given Dallas for Luka Doncic? Are you kidding me?" Well, and then you go with an aging big man that can't stay healthy, right? And hasn't shaved his unibrow since he was in middle school.
Oh, come on now.
I'm just kidding. I had to do it. I had to do it because it's just weird. No, but seriously, you go with an aging big man that can't stay healthy. And Max Christie and a draft pick for Luka Doncic for the one of the top 5 NBA players of the next 10 years at least.
I'm looking at headlines. Mavericks GM willing to accept burden of Luka Doncic trade. Quote, 10 years from now they'll probably bury me. Hey, you punk. 1 minute from now they want to bury you.
You're already buried, bro.
You're buried, my dude.
You're already buried. What's the matter with you? And then I saw that you're afraid, and then I read something about you being afraid of the Luka Supermax contract. You got the money. You got the money to pay Luka. Well, what does it matter with you?
Here, rightfully, I think so. The other NBA teams are pissed.
Sure.
They're like, wait a minute, we would have made you an offer for Luka.
You mean to tell me all the other NBA teams wouldn't have been interested in Luka Doncic?
They're like pissed that Luka went to the Lakers. You can't be pissed at the Lakers, man. Rob Pelinka answered the phone. Like, well, all right, I guess we'll take him. Can't be pissed at the Lakers. But again, if I'm a Mavs fan, I am pissed on so many. I'm pissed on levels I didn't know I could get to.
Right.
I'm pissed on levels that I thought were out of reach for me.
Right.
I am not only pissed that you just took away our franchise player at 25 years old again. I'm not only.
I didn't even realize he was that young, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not only pissed that you did that.
Yeah.
I am pissed. You didn't even give an opportunity to get a better deal.
Right.
Anthony Davis was that important to you?
No, of course he wasn't.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
He is making this all about Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, is a hell of a basketball player. And he will be for maybe 2 more years. What did you just do?
Is this the worst trade in NBA history? Well, compared to the other ones, whatever those are, is this the worst trade in NBA history? On paper, at least? I mean, obviously we'll find out, but on paper?
I'm trying to
It's
think.
Up there. It's got to be up there.
I'm trying to think.
You took yourself out of contention with this. Well, not out of contention, but you're going to be in the playoffs, right? Because you still got Kyrie, you got Clay, you got AD.
Certainly modern day NBA.
Yeah.
because I think coming into this, the biggest fleece that people talk about was when the Lakers traded Kwame Brown to Memphis for both of the Gasols. Or no, they traded Kwame and I don't remember what it was, but like it set up the Kobe and Pau Gasol years.
Yeah.
It was for Kwame Brown.
Yeah.
What the fuck just happened?
Okay. All right.
I think this is bigger than that. And again, it is all on paper, and there have to be results. And I don't know, maybe something crazy happens, and Kyrie Irving teams up with Klay Thompson, and then it teams up with Anthony Davis and Derek Lively, and like maybe they could be good, I guess, but like, nah. You don't get rid of your franchise. This would have been, we watched our franchise player walk away in his prime when LeBron left for Miami. This would have been the equivalent of the Cavs calling Miami and being like, hey, what if we traded you, LeBron, and you gave us, I don't know, the third guy off your bench?
Yeah.
You in? You down? You in? What?
Like what is even up there? Like, you call the Bucks, right? And like Luka for Giannis, like, is that like an even like fairer trade? Like, huh?
The Bucks might have done that, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But you could have gotten. You certainly should have gotten more draft capital.
Right.
You got. And I think we're so used to talking about NBA or NFL draft capital, but NBA draft capital, man. Think about it. The Lakers are going to be pretty good because they're already pretty good.
Draft capital is the biggest asset in the NBA.
I don't know that this trade made the Lakers a ton better because they have nobody on the inside.
Yeah,
like,
you still have Luka, LeBron, and then it's everybody else.
Well, but like getting rid of Anthony Davis for the Lakers means you have nothing.
Right.
But they're still going to be pretty good. So that draft pick you got is going to be like 21. In the NBA, that's like a 4th round pick in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, nothing about this makes sense. Nothing about this is smart.
Right.
And it seems like Rob Pelinka has like a video of Nico Harrison doing something illegal.
Just him and Jeannie Buss just going out to dinner.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ.
just doing whatever that is that 2 consenting adults do.
Just sex taping it up.
That's it. This
is not a confirmed situation.
Right.
It feels like that's what this has to be.
Right.
So that's my asshole of the week, but also that's the take on the trade. There's another big trade went down between like Chicago and Sacramento and San Antonio. But in the end, the biggest part of that trade is that you paired up De'Aaron Fox with Victor Wembanyama. I love that deal.
Scary. That's going to be so scary going forward.
That deal. Love that deal for Sacramento. I don't think it really does anything. Everybody's talking about Zach LaVine to Sacramento. Zach LaVine doesn't do much for me.
The Kings, I don't know. The Kings are like that. Who would be like an NFL comparison or to the Sacramento Kings? Like this team that just constantly acquires talent, but just can never win, like can never put it together. Like, who is that?
My very first thought was the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is also like they've had periods of time where they were really, now obviously the Broncos won those back-to-back Super Bowls. That's different.
Yeah.
But like they've had period of time where they've been really, really good. Like when the Kings had like Chris Webber and Peja Stojakovic.
I loved that team, by the way. That's like when I actually watched basketball. I loved that team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Vlade Divac. Yeah, that team was awesome. But
Bibby.
But yeah, they it's kind of like the Broncos, right? They had their heyday years.
Yeah.
But then when you look at even now when you look at the Broncos, you go, oh man, like Patrick Surtain is awesome, and they're pretty much everybody on defense is great.
Yeah.
And Cortland Sutton, and they've got this whole group of great players, and they're like never better than like a middling football team.
Right.
That seems like a fair comparison.
Yeah, because it's like the Kings. They don't suck, but they never just Like they could never just get over the top, even though they try. Like they try their ass off to do that, but it's they never can just get to that next level.
Yeah. Just keep it in the NBA for a minute while we have been on the show here. The Cavaliers end up falling to the Boston Celtics in Cleveland tonight in a game where, Chad, I think you said it really well earlier. The Cavs just went down too big too early. And man, I will say I loved the fight out of the Cavaliers in this game. They were down by, I think, more than 20 early in this game. There was like 3 minutes to go in the first quarter and they had 6 points.
Yeah.
They couldn't make a shot to save their lives. They were shooting like 8% from the field. Right. And eventually in the first half, they go down by, oh, that's a good one. Hold on. PW fan said the Kings are the Falcons. Stumbled into some all-time great players with nothing to show for it in terms of hardware. That's really good.
That's really good.
That's really good, PW fan. That's a really good example, actually. The Cavaliers, I think, played a very tough game. I just think, it was too little too late. I think too many guys struggled. Max Strus struggled. Evan Mobley struggled. The bench, George Niang struggled a bit. Karis LeVert really struggled off the bench. They just had too many guys that struggled, but they fought and they scratched and they clawed. And man, they had this lead with like 3 or 4 minutes to go in the game. They had this lead down to 4 points.
Yeah.
And it looked like, okay, here we go. The Cavs are back in it. And ultimately the Celtics, the Cavs could play this exact same game against about 26 teams in the NBA and win that game.
Right.
Yeah. Boston Celtics are not one of those 26 teams.
No, yeah.
So Boston manages to get away with a win, even though they had to fight harder for it than it looked like they were going to have to. And the Cavaliers take a loss, and the Cavs don't have a lot of time to lick their wounds because they've got a back-to-back with Detroit tomorrow. But I really like where the Cavs are at right now, Chad. I know they lost tonight, and they just played a terrible game.
Yeah. I mean,
especially early. They didn't play a terrible game as the game went on. But early in the game, they scored 15 points in the first quarter. Like
you just can't do that. I mean, no matter how elite you've been, no matter how good of a season you're having, you just can't do that against the better teams in any professional sport in any league.
They were down 13. They were down 13 at the end of the first. They were down 13 at the end of the first quarter. They lose by 7. So the rest of the quarters they outscored the Boston Celtics. But I like where they're at. I like that they've gone through a little bit now.
Sure. Yeah.
I like 100%. That they've lost some games. I don't care that they've lost. They had that 3-game losing streak.
Yeah.
But what did they do? They immediately responded with 4 straight wins.
Right.
And now they lose to Boston, and they've got to go get right. But I like that they're facing a couple of these bumps. They've got some injuries they're dealing with. Obviously, I think in a game against Boston, Dean Wade being out is a massive loss because just defensively and rebounding what he brings to the team. But I'm kind of glad that the Cavaliers were getting to the All-Star break. It feels like they kind of need a little bit of a rest.
Sure.
And I'm kind of glad that even though it was fun while they were on this like historic run, I'm kind of glad that they're not gonna be the historic team of all time or whatever. They're gonna have a great year. They should finish with 60 wins, but they're going to have to fight through some tough things too. And I think that's going to make them better in the playoffs.
Yeah. You've got to get tested. It's so important to get tested. And you know what? And now that we're over halfway through the season, I think they're getting tested at the right time, right?
Yep.
Every great team's got to go through adversity. Every great team's got to go through slight slumps, right? We talked about it with the Guardians too, obviously not to the extent of the Cavs because the Cavs season is much shorter, but it's important for teams to go through little bumps and how they respond. And I think this is a good thing for the Cavs, right? Obviously you want to avoid long slumps, but the fact that you kind of, got your ass handed to you, you made a hell of an effort to come back in this game tonight, but that you kind of got your ass handed to you. You get taught more lessons in losses than you do in wins.
Yeah.
And the Cavs got taught a lesson tonight for sure.
So Cavs learned their lesson. Chad, the only other thing I had written down is we're already at 10:23, and so we're coming up on the end of the show. But the only other thing I had written down, I wanted to do a quick minute because
sure,
of all the disaster that we have to deal with the Cleveland Browns, we've got 2 teams in Ohio. Well, we have 3 teams in Ohio. We have the Ohio State Buckeyes winning the national championship. That was
That's
great.
right. That's right.
Well, I maybe want to hit on that for a minute too, but we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been the best team in basketball and for sure are a top 3 team in the NBA.
Sure.
And they've been fun. And then we've got this team down in Columbus as well that we cover, that we talk about a lot, that we've developed a good friendship with. But we've got these Columbus Blue Jackets who busted their ass to get pretty firmly into a playoff position.
Yeah.
In stunning fashion.
Right.
And so you just talked about, Chad, having to take your lumps.
Right.
Well, welcome to the lumps if you are a Blue Jackets fan, because I don't know, Chad, it feels like over the last 2 games, the whole team has gone down with injuries. I'm not going to lie to you that if you didn't see it, the Jackets' leading goal scorer, Kirill Marchenko,
budding superstar
in Dallas, budding superstar. The guy's unbelievable.
Right.
He's sitting on the bench in Dallas, and a puck gets fired towards the wall. It misses the wall. It goes up into the bench, and it hits him right in the face, and it shatters his jaw.
Right.
And the dude had to have jaw surgery yesterday.
Right.
And he's out 6 to 8 weeks while his jaw recovers.
Right.
You've got a wild amount of. You've got Zach Werenski's even out now. Thank God that's only day to day right now.
Right. Right.
But Werenski's out, and Monahan, it's indefinite with him. We don't even know when he's coming back, and he was so important for the team. And right now, the Columbus Blue Jackets have to figure something out. They've lost their last 2 games, one against Dallas, and then today they lost against Buffalo. But man, I'm a little nervous about what all these injuries are going to do to the Columbus Blue Jackets, Chad.
Yeah. I am a little nervous about it, but the thing is that they still have to play the way they play, right? It's going to be. This is where a coach like Dean Evison comes in, right? A veteran coach with discipline, and I think he's going to get the young guys motivated. He's going to figure out how to address the room, and he's going to. This team has completely bought in, and even though they're shorthanded right now, I think it's I don't think it's as bad as it would have been in years past, right?
Right.
Because when it comes to young teams like this, when it comes to young players, when it comes to a mix of veterans, and again, thank God Zach Werenski is only day to day. You look to a coach. You look to a coach to sort of galvanize your team. Right. And I know it's going to suck. Kirill's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. And I know the setback with Monahan is killer. That sucks as well. But I honestly think that they're in a much better spot than they were in the last couple of years because because like I just said, because of Dean Evison, because of the way Elvis has been playing this year. And I still think they have enough to be able to win some hockey games. It's just that they're going to have to fight even harder. And it's a resilient bunch. And it's a resilient bunch. And you saw the fight tonight as well, being shorthanded against a Buffalo team that actually it's kind of like the NHL Sacramento Kings. They have a lot of talent. They never can just bring it together.
We're going to do this. We're just going to do this the whole time.
Well, yeah. Every major
Sacramento
sport,
Kings in Major League Baseball.
Cleveland Guardians. Who's the English Premier League? Sacramento Kings.
I know the Guardians. I know the Guardians are the Major League Baseball Sacramento Kings.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's. I know they lost a couple, but if they can just kind of tread water here, at least over the next couple of weeks, I know, which is nice. They got the Four Nations break coming up, which is very nice for this team. And got a chance to get some guys healthy, and maybe they can come back after that. But if they can just tread water over the next couple of games, get into the break, I think they'll be just fine after this. So got another one coming up at home against Utah on Thursday, and here we go.
That answers this question. Sean asks, do we have a timeline on when Boone Jenner will be back? And the expectation is after that Four Nations break.
Yeah, it's the last report I saw said beginning of March or so.
Oh,
That's the last report I saw on Jenner.
That's so awesome. Okay, Chad. Yeah, we'll get to I think we'll get to the Ohio State thing later.
Yeah.
I think there's interesting talks to be had about the coaching staff at Ohio State and what the fuck just happened.
Sure.
We'll get to
$6 million, highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. I mean, as a coach, you're not going to pass that up.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, okay, let's get into it for like 3 minutes.
Sure.
I don't have any issue with Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
Plus Chip Kelly, he just came and won a national championship in college football.
Yeah.
And he had been a failure in the NFL, and you know that is going to eat at him until he can go prove that he's not a failure in the NFL.
Yeah.
I get that. This Jim Knowles thing is really weird to me. What did we miss? What did we miss to have so blatantly missed a defensive coordinator who, just coming off of a national championship victory, not only does he go home, he's from Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Not only does he go to his home state to coach Penn State, but he basically, ever since he left, has been blazing middle fingers back at Ohio State the whole time. Like, he's talking shit about Ohio State. He's wearing clothes that say, like, Ohio State sucks. Like, what did we miss? He's making comments that finally I'm going to be paid what I'm worth.
Whew. Yeah.
What?
I mean, if you believe the reports that are out there, between having to change the scheme after the Oregon game, between the rift between him and Larry Johnson, it seems like this thing runs so much deeper than he's just going home. So it seems like a lot. I don't know. I haven't seen an article or anything on the full story as to why he left, but there is a lot of stuff out there. If you're willing to look, that there was a lot of turmoil with him at Ohio State that caused him to move, and it wasn't just about the money. So it's crazy. It's a crazy story. It's crazy that he went to made a lateral move to a program that's never going to beat Ohio State. It's but yeah, it's a lot of stuff is out there as to why he left, and it's crazy.
It's almost like, instead of understanding that he's a defensive coordinator, he wants to be the defensive head coach.
All right, sure. Yeah.
And I think sometimes people do get that messed up. I think even fans sometimes like, well, he coaches the defense and he coaches no. The head coach coaches everything.
Right.
Which means the head coach is going to make calls on how the defense works and how the offense works and how special teams works. And the head coach is going to tell the defensive coordinator that, oh, I want you collaborating with Larry Johnson. I want you collaborating with this person. I want you collaborating with this person. And sometimes they're going to bring me ideas and I'm going to tell you to implement them. I think Jim Knowles wanted it to be like, I'm the head coach on defense. Leave me alone. I'm going to do it the way I want to. We're going to do things the way I think they should be done. And I don't want anybody telling me anything different. That is the vibe that I'm getting from this guy. And that's not how it works, dude.
No.
That's not how it works. So I thought it was interesting. No. I will say this. Shout out to Brian Hartline. I loved that hire. I think it was obvious. Very much like I thought the Browns.
Is that official?
Is it? I thought it was.
Is that official?
Maybe I just thought, maybe, is it a fake thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it not official?
I don't know. I saw one thing like on this Buckeye Scoop, but I didn't see it anywhere else.
Oh, yeah, Buckeye Scoop is where I saw it. Yeah, or maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
If that's the hire they make, it seems fairly obvious. Again,
it feels like the right hire as far as from a continuity standpoint, for sure.
What it feels like
he was co-offensive coordinator.
Feels like the Browns with Tommy Rees, like that seemed like the guy they were going to hire as their offensive coordinator the whole time, and they did. It feels like Ohio State's going to hire Brian Hartline. Maybe they won't. Maybe that's a fake thing. I don't know. But
they should. I mean, well, even if it's
at the top of every list,
they should hire him. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a very interesting thing. The Jim Knowles thing. I think that's going to be fun to watch. Like he set up this. I don't know why you would leave Ohio State and give them a lot of fuel for the next time they see Penn State. But
it's not going to be pretty.
Is doing
so, especially in Columbus. Being in Columbus, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. Okay. Last order of business for us here on episode 249 is we're going to do our cheers of the week. It's the opposite of the asshole of the week. This is where we are cheersing a thing or a person or a group of people who are they did something great this week. And we want to give them a shout out. So I'll lead us off because you've let us off on pretty much everything else, Chad. I have two. One of them I didn't have until we started the show tonight. But I certainly want to call this person out. I don't know who he is. I don't know his name. I don't know anything about him. But I saw Twitter exploded because the Cavaliers brought a fan out during one of the breaks to take one of those $10,000 half-court shots.
Nice.
So not only does this dude hit the shot, but he immediately goes over to the Celtics bench area and just starts taunting them. I'm like, wait, I can't. I think it's the best. I mean, I know it would have been so much better if the Cavs would have won this game.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, what a balls move to
That's
just drain the shot in front of a packed arena when national TV's there, so you know it's going to be on national TV if you hit the shot. And then to just run over by the Celtics, like near the Celtics bench, and he was doing like thumbs down and like he was just taunting the Boston Celtics.
Did any Celtic react?
I didn't see any reaction.
Yeah,
but world's fastest fat man says it right here. Just the hero we need. That's what this guy was.
Yeah,
just the hero we need. The one I was coming in here with, and they have these, I think, all over the country. And if you haven't done it before, I cannot suggest this enough. We went to a food truck, but it's like it was on Shark Tank. So it's like they have it, I think, in every state or almost every state. In Ohio, I think there's like 4 of them. Have you ever gone to the Cousin's Maine Lobster food truck?
No, but I've seen plenty of pictures and advertisements for it.
I'd never gone.
Yeah.
I'd never gone. I was like, I don't know if I want lobster out of a truck.
Yeah.
We did go. We went, and it was one of the best meals I think I've ever had in my whole life.
Nice. Sweet.
And it was like, I think I spent like $30 and I've got like a big lobster roll and a whole thing of lobster bisque. And like, it blew my mind.
Okay.
It blew my mind.
All right.
And so I would encourage people, and I don't even get paid for this, but it was that good.
Okay.
Cousin's Maine like the state, Cousin's Maine Lobster. Look it up. You can see where their trucks are going to be. They have a full schedule. You can look it up in your state. You can look it up by your zip code. You can see when it's going to be close to you. Yeah. Go and try it, and you will come back to the show and say, you just changed my life.
Wow.
It was unbelievable.
Changing lives.
Changing lives.
Okay.
Did they, first of all, no, they did not have squash. It wasn't squash cider. What was it?
But they did have squash cordial.
Squash cordial.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had 17 squash cordials tonight.
Right. They have squash cordial.
Well, take it easy. All right. Chad, who's your cheer of the week?
Well, Michael,
You started to talk like Forrest. You started to talk like Forrest Gump right there. I got to cut you off.
My cheers of the week goes to the people in the TikTok video right now, because every time I make a Browns TikTok video,
this is
tell
so
me I
funny.
look like Joe Flacco. I don't see it whatsoever, but I'm gonna play into it every single time. I don't see anything like you in everybody that's still here right now. They're like, just put in the comments. Do I look like Joe Flacco? I don't see it at all.
Not at all.
But I'm going to use it for engagement every single time they do.
It is very funny because we do these videos on TikTok and we do the stuff here, and it's never about how many people view it. It's never about we don't care. I'm going to be 40 in 15 days. Chad's over 40. I don't care how many people are looking at this stuff. We're just doing it for fun, and because some people like it is kind of awesome on the side, right? And that's how our show is, right? Like sometimes we'll have like 2,000 people in here, and sometimes we'll have like 10, and it doesn't matter. But man, it's one of my favorite things. You make those TikToks talking about the Blue Jackets, or the one you did about Myles Garrett, and it just blew up. Wow. I really wish the Browns would have re-signed you, was one of the comments. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm going to play into it. Oh, hey, look. Hey.
Solo
Hey,
Eagle
everybody.
in the comments thinks you.
Listen, I'm still waiting on a call. I mean, hopefully the Eagles or Chiefs need an emergency quarterback.
I think you are more wacko than Flacco. For
Hey-o.
sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's a good one. All right. That's going to do it for episode 249. We had a great time talking Browns. I think that was nice. That was a nice little therapy session that we needed when it came to the Myles Garrett thing.
Yeah, sure
Big
was.
time shout out to our buddy Jack Duffin. Go follow Jack at Jack Duffin. And again, remember, and this will be another cheers. Cheers to the OBR for hosting us. Remember, get over to the OBR.com tomorrow for free VIP day, where you can read all the VIP articles for free, including a ton of those Jack Duffin articles that we were talking about that are VIP. So check that out tomorrow. So shout out to Jack, shout out to the OBR, and shout out to all of you guys, everybody that was here live in the comments on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or Instagram. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for joining us live. If you didn't join us live, always remember, you can either catch us on YouTube or Twitch later, or if you want to just listen to us while you're mowing the lawn or shoveling snow or whatever, you can always catch us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart. We're on all the podcast hosts as well. Do us a favor, wherever you're watching, hit subscribe, hit like, hit follow, get to the Garage Beers on all the socials, and give us a follow over there as well. We really appreciate you for doing that. That's going to do it for episode 249 for Joe. For Joe. Joe was sick tonight, of course. But for Joe, we'll give him a shout out. And for Chad over there on the east side of Cleveland at Garage Beers, Chad, I am Michael Keefe at Garage Beers Mike. We will see you next week for episode 250.
Crazy.
And you know we're going to have a big one. You know we'll have a big one for episode 250. Crazy. So we will see you next week. Until then, thanks, everybody, and cheers.